Thunderbolts is directed by Jake Schreier and is the next installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. After finding themselves ensnared in a death trap, an unconventional team of antiheroes must go on a dangerous mission that will force them to confront the darkest corners of their past. Now, it's no secret to everyone that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is not the way it's been. You'll get a good movie here and there. You'll get a good show here and there. But there are a lot more bad shows and movies now being made. I mean, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Marvels. Let's see. Secret Invasion. But Loki Season 2 especially was fantastic. I really love Spider-Man No Way Home, Shang-Chi, and Guardians 3 is one of my favorite Marvel movies of all time. Like, they're still making good movies and shows here and there. It's just that, unfortunately, back then, it seemed to be quantity over quality that they're focusing on. Until recently, especially with the recent release of Daredevil Born Again, which I really enjoyed. It's because they're going through a new path. They're trying to fix things up, and they did a lot of reshoots in that show that actually fixed it up. And this new movie was filmed and made during a time when Marvel was really trying to make sure they're able to put out quality movies. And honestly, I think this film turned out really good. I had a fantastic time with Thunderbolts. Is it one of my favorite Marvel movies ever? No, I don't think it's even in my top 10. But I thought the movie was compelling, emotionally engaging, and overall I thought the writing and the characters were pretty solid, especially with Sentry, who was a standout in the film. This character was very naive. He was a bit close to himself. He isn't really a character who is confident in himself, and we learn a lot about his backstory as the film goes on, as he becomes the main heart and center of the film that the whole plot revolves around. And I think the actor who portrays him did a really good job at bringing a sense of insecurity to the character, but a sense of power and authority as well, especially with what they do with him near the end, which I won't spoil if you still haven't seen the film. With the other Thunderbolt characters, I really enjoyed them. I thought Yelena here, played by Florence Pugh, was fantastic and a lot more engaging here than in the Black Widow film, which I did like her there too, but I think she was a much more engaging character here as she becomes the film's main character. But David Harbour brings a good sense of fatherly love and warmth, and I really like his relationship with Yelena, how these two are basically a broken family at this point that are trying to rekindle some semblance of love that they have for each other after they lost Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow in Avengers Endgame, Natasha Romanoff, and that becomes also a major aspect of their character, is them processing their grief, processing the trauma, their depression, what they're going through, and that seems to be a major theme of the film, depression. A lot of these characters are going through something. John Walker especially is someone who's also going through a really tough patch after Cap. John Walker is a character who's also going through a really tough patch after Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and if you saw that show, you will know that he becomes mostly the antagonistic force of that show, and we see the repercussions of his actions here and how all of the events back then molded him into who he is now, and how he is essentially a man who's lost so much in his life that he feels like he has no one now but the mission and the identity of a Captain America-like figure. He is a soldier just trying to follow orders and trying to forget a past that wants to forget him as well. And I think having the film have this focus on depression and self-worth with all these characters going through something but through different experiences made this team dynamic not just a lot of fun, but really interesting and emotionally engaging. I felt things with these characters that I haven't felt in a while in an MCU film. I felt their emotions, what they feel depressed about, what they regret, what they wish would have changed in their lives, especially when they are basically losers. Like, they're anti-heroes, they are skilled, but they're always like some bad place where they have to figure out a way out and use their wits a lot of the time instead of just their powers. And not all the time it goes well, especially during this car chase that you see in the trailers where Bucky saves them, and Bucky becomes a bit of the leader figure here. He's a character at this point that we know enough about, so he doesn't get a lot of development here. But we see him try to turn over a new leaf as a governor in the previous Captain America film, and we see that a bit explored here. But we can also tell that this isn't something that feels right for him, and he knows it. So the film basically is building him up as sort of a leadership type of figure, and I actually think that is pretty cool for the character of Bucky Barnes, knowing that his best friend Captain America Steve Rogers was the leader of the Avengers. He's taking up kind of that same mantle, except it's more so with a group of anti-heroes, and in a way he becomes sort of their leader and guiding them through what it really means to be a hero and to be someone with a sense of worth and hope at least. And he gives them that drive to keep pushing on. Again, it's not the most deep characterization ever, but I think it is really interesting what they're able to do with Bucky Barnes here, and I really love the way he was portrayed here and his interactions with the Thunderbolt members. Speaking of the action, there is not that much action here compared to most other MCU films, and a lot of it is basically grounded action, not low stakes. The stakes are high personally and emotionally, but there's no grand alien battles or CGI everywhere. And honestly, I really like that about this film, how it goes for a more grounded scale, a bit more street level in a way. But I also love that Marvel did a lot of practical sets, a lot of practical stunts, and it just shows on screen how real and visceral a lot of stuff they do is. It felt tangible. It felt dirty. I really love how this movie returned to a time where movies use a lot of practical effects, and I think it worked wonders here to make the action feel visceral, engaging, bone-knuckled. Like, the action here and the choreography is great. There is this fantastic scene near the end that is really trippy, but I was surprised to look up how much of it was actually done practically. Now, there is still CGI, but CGI implemented with stuff that can only be done with CGI, which is the way to use computer generated effects, not just to cover everything and make it look glossy, but to enhance the shot and make something that can't be done practically feel real and tangible. And it gives the CGI artists a lot more time to focus on effects that need to be done, and they don't get overstuffed with so much effects that it becomes mind-numbing. This is how you do a mix of practical and visual effects, and it's not something as seamlessly done as Jurassic Park, I'm not saying that, but it is done very well to help make this film feel authentic and you are immersed in the experience. Now, all this to say is that this is a really good movie, but there are some problems. For one, I would say that Julia Louis-Dreyfus, while I do like her in the film, I felt like her character could have had a little bit more development, as she kind of becomes the Nick Fury type of character. But honestly, I felt like the film kind of underutilized her, though there are some interesting things that they explore with her, but I don't know. I just felt like the film really underutilized this character, but as an antagonistic force, she works well enough. In some parts in the middle, honestly, story-wise and plot-wise, I felt like we're a bit missing. Like, the transition between acts felt a bit jarring. Like, I wasn't sure if we were in Act 3 yet, or when we were getting, how fast we got to Act 3. Felt like there are a few deleted scenes there. Like, sometimes the pacing can be a bit weird in that regard when we jump to a certain location immediately without much of connective tissue, so to say. And I think the film could have been a little bit longer in that regard to help pace out and transition us better to the next act. It's kind of the same problem I had with The Lost World Jurassic Park, in which the third act of that film felt like it came right out of nowhere, and it felt like there were a few deleted scenes that connects the second and third act much better together. It's kind of like that, what I'm saying. But all in all, I thought this film was really good. The action was really solid and exciting, the characters were engaging, the emotions were high, the practical stunts were visceral and so much fun to watch. And all in all, I just felt like the emotions of the film and the themes it explores about depression, self-worth, I think those were my favorite aspects of the film, especially when it centers around Sentry and the growing relationship between him and Yelena and her father, and John Walker and Bucky Barnes. Ghost is probably my least favorite Thunderbolt member. She doesn't get that much development, honestly. And Taskmaster, what a character. Like, Oscar-worthy performance. The writing with her is so deep, like a bullet to the head, and I cannot wait for you to discover just how much of an excellent character Thunderbolts made the Taskmaster. Like, best character in the MCU. They really hit the home run with this character. Oh god, yeah, I can't do it with a straight face. Yeah. If you saw the trailer, you know she doesn't make it. I'm gonna give Thunderbolts an A-. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys next time.